this next conversation, you're going to be hearing from my dear friend, John Yanutis. He is the director, the owner of a preschool, a very incredible preschool in Athens, Greece. And I met John, gosh, it's been at least maybe 8 or 9 years ago when he invited me to come over and speak at his school, which is, called Dorothy Snot. And for those of you who are English speakers, obviously that has a silly connotation to it. But John explained it to me back then when I mentioned it to him. He said, well, this is a tradition in Greece, is you name your preschools after characters from children's books. And there's a famous children's book character named Dorothy Snot in Greek literature. And so therefore, that's the name of the school. And of course, it's a name that stands out and it's incredible. It was a good business decision, as it turned out. And as you listen to John's conversation here, one of the things that I really would love for you to think about teasing out, especially if you're in a position of leadership or management or you own your own school, is he was a business person before he went into this. And he shares a great deal in this conversation about experiences he's had as a business person and how he has used some of those management and people management skills to make his school more effective, especially during the COVID crisis. Also listen for his description of what he calls life-derived learning, which I think is a really great way to think about the kind of things that we do in our schools. And finally, for those of you who have an interest, John, I think as far as I'm concerned, their school, it's an urban school, set right in the heart of a densely populated major city. But still, they're able to create this life-derived learning, this play-based education. So it doesn't matter. You don't have to be out in the countryside. You don't have to be in the bush. You don't have to be on a beach. You can do this kind of education anywhere. So I think you're going to love this. John, you're a dear, and I love you and your whole family. So enjoy.
Hey, welcome. And I am so excited today. I have John here who is from Greece. And John, will you say your last name for us? Because I do not want to mangle it.
Of course, Sally. It's Yanoudis. It's Yanoudis. It's a totally Greek name. I don't expect an American to be very easy to pronounce that. Yanoudis. And you can call me John. It's much easier.
Much easier. Thank you. It's a beautiful name. And I think it's really interesting. I'm going to say a little bit about your background, that you have your bachelor's of science in management and finance, and for many years worked in management positions in Greek private organizations. And then since 2011-ish, is that right? You have been the co-founder with your wife and director of Dorothy Snot, is that correct? A preschool and kindergarten in Athens, Greece. I think that is I'm so excited to dig into that. And that you're also really have done a lot in the nonprofit communities in transforming Greek education. And I'd love to hear about that. And finally, which is really cool, you are an author of a book called A Very Bad, Bad Thing, which is an illustrated children's historical fiction. So welcome. I'm excited to dig into the conversation. And and also you're a proud father, right?
Yeah. Yes, proud father of the family. Now she's 14, almost 15, yeah.
Oh, I was going to ask how old she is, 14. So I want to know a little about who you are and what you do.
Yeah. Thank you very much for all these questions you asked and all the discussion I'm gonna have. I'm sure it will be really exciting. Okay, I'm a guy that I had never any kind of relationship with teaching and schools and everything. I went to college, I studied management, and back in 1993, I began my career in Greece as a finance guy in companies. Very quickly, I became CFO in my 30s, and I worked for more than 12 years purely as a CFO, Chief Financial Officer in big Greek corporations. And okay, totally American kind of dream job. You know how it is. Business,
Yes.
business world. When you are 30, all those things seem really exciting. When you become 40 and maybe older, you start thinking in a different way. And maybe the turning point for me, with many people in the world, was maybe in 2006 when my daughter was born. And I have to say that okay, my wife Daniela quit her job and stayed home to grow her up. So for almost 2 years. Nefeli was with Daniela all the day. I was working. I was coming very late at home. I didn't have a lot of time to spend with my children, and I started really feeling a little it was a time for a little change. And then it was one day that Daniela came to me and said, "Look, I'm trying to find a school for Nefeli. I've visited a number of schools. It's all crap. None of the schools in Athens, preschools in Athens, it seems that can give me what I want. And what I want for our daughter is to be respected and to be free to develop her own personality on her own pace." So she told me, "You know about business. Why don't we make school, our own school?" And my first reaction was to say, "But we know nothing about education. I know nothing about schools. I know business, but I don't know schools." But then when she tried she started to explain to me her dream, her vision, because she's the visionary in the family. I'm the manager, but she has a vision. When she started to explain me the vision, I said, "Look, it sounds very, very exciting. Maybe we should give it a try." And we were lucky in some terms that we founded the building and everything. And the first school was set up very quickly. I mean, within 3 months, the first school started to set up at the end of 2008. And then Daniela was running the school for the first 2 years, which were very hard years. Actually, it sounds weird, maybe sounds a little arrogant, but it was the school we wanted for our daughter. I mean, we made the school, a dream school for our daughter. And that's why maybe the school had a very strong basis, because we did the best because we wanted our daughter to have the best.
Yes.
So Daniela, for the first 2 years, was really striving to give her the best school. The school was growing. And maybe around 2010, when I saw that the school was starting to develop a financial viability, I decided to quit my all other kind of business and focus on school. I did that. I managed to do that in 2011 because it's not very easy to live a management career. Nobody believes you when you tell them I want to quit and go to work in a preschool. I mean,
right? It's like, what?
Yeah, it's like that anyway.
You kidding me?
But okay, it took me about 6 months, and then I did it. And since 2011, I'm fully occupied in our school. We developed it. The school back then had about 50 children. Now it has about 250 children. We have moved to a much bigger premise in Athens, and it's a fantastic journey because, okay, it's fun to be in a school. I mean, it's a business. We live out of it, and we're very happy for that. But at the same time, it's very fun. Every day, you get acquainted with parents, you get acquainted with children, with teachers, people that definitely happy. What I always say, and Tom says that a lot about, like me, is that schools are like a bubble of happiness. Anything bad, anything that is not nice, lives outside. Even the parents, when maybe they have a ton of problems, when they come in school, they have to be happy because their kids are there. Kids are always happy. Kids are always excited. So the school is a bubble, especially a play-based school, and I can't say more about it. So we work and live in a fantastic environment where everybody's happy, where we see people growing, we see children developing their personality. Every day we hear fantastic things, we hear fantastic stories, we see them doing fantastic things. So at the end of the day, we're all happy. Parents are happy to see their children developing. Teachers are happy because their work is really appreciated by parents. I'm happy because we have a healthy company with today about 50 employees. So everybody's happy. So, and what I'm telling very, very often, and I tell it in conferences I speak in Greece and in interviews I've given, is that the best thing maybe in my life was this change of career 10 years ago. Many people are afraid. I also was afraid to change my career, but maybe it was the best thing that happened to me.
I love that. Yes. You know, I think great things come with those risks, right? It's scary to step into a dream. It's scary.
Right. What I say, Sally, that I'm an example of that, is that we had a need and we followed the need, and the need gave us a new life. So what I say in a business environment, I always say that, is that you should always try to think, if you want to do a new business, if you want to develop a new venture, you always have to understand what need you really are there to cover, what value you give to the society. If you give a real value for a real need, most probably it will be a good business. If you try to invent a need or try to invent, maybe it doesn't work. But we had the need, and probably many other people had this need down the road. So it was a good it was a good occasion, a good opportunity for all of us.
Well, and I want to hear a little bit about how, like, I know that you call it life-derived learning, which I love that. That was like, you know, I was like, been really excited just to have that conversation with you, because it points so much to the heart of play-based education, or the soul of it, that it's based in real time in life itself. It's not contrived, right?
Right.
Yeah, so I want to hear about that and how that arose for you.
We came up with this term. I will tell you why. Because what we see, and I'm sure everybody running a project-based school or a play-based school sees us, is the following: children in the age of 2 or 3 year old, I don't believe they are really interested to go and listen to Beethoven or to go to the museum and see Picasso's or whatever. The parents will do it, and it's fantastic. But the need of the children is to discover the real world. So I know very well that not children the age of 2 or 3 year old will ask to go to the museum. But if dad is taking a power tool, trying to make a cell, children wants to get involved with that. Or if mom tries to bake a cake, and he takes, you know, all these things, or you make the laundry. Children always want to get interfere with the reality. And we see that in the school every day. We see it in our daughter. Our daughter was the best example of that. So we saw that what children really want is to give them the chance, give them the opportunity to discover the reality, to discover the real world. A child cannot understand why let's say my daughter probably cannot understand why I will be doing something in my car or repairing something in the house, and she could not get involved with that. Because, you know, we adults are always afraid of safety, we're always afraid of things are dangerous and everything. So what we realized very quickly is that what really children want is to discover the real world. And this is what we give them. We make them an absolute equal part of our life at school. What we say, and we really stick to that, is that children have the ownership of their school life. We don't have the ownership of their school life. So, for example, in the kindergarten, we have a course, we call it DIY. So children in the kindergarten, when something breaks in school, most of the times they try to find a way to fix it with a guy that runs DIY course. This is fantastic. This is greatly boosting their self-confidence. It's greatly boosting their belief in themselves.
Yes.
That helps them to become autonomous, helps them to become independent from very quickly. So practical life-derived learning is a concept. It's a concept within the framework of play-based education that we have developed that says that what we should do every day, every moment, is to try to give children the chance to discover the reality. So if you come to our school, which I really hope you will do soon in Athens, you will see a place. Sometimes it's like a junkyard. Sometimes it's like a repair shop. Sometimes it's like I don't know what, a plant shop, whatever. This is the idea we have about the perfect school. The perfect school, if you can say that, should be a place where children should every moment do something coming from reality, of course, adjusted to their own needs, to their own capabilities, but doing something that connects them to the real world. We cannot imagine a school where everything is fictionary and nothing connects school life with reality, because children will go to the real world sooner or later, and the more quickly they have been acquainted to this kind of life, the more quickly they will be able to live independently and in a happy way. So learning is exactly this. If you come in our school, as I said before, you may see children, building with bricks. You may see other children repairing things and using power tools. You may see other things, other children, planting trees or taking care of the garden. Whatever you may find in a village, whatever you may find in a small community, you may see that in a school like ours. And it's amazing. I have never seen a child in school doing something connected with reality to be bored or to be not in enthusiast mood. Children in our school always very enthusiastic when they have when they come to do something that their parents are doing, we adults are doing, people outside the school are doing. We go, for example, protesting for the environment around in our neighborhood. We go and we shop our own grocery, and then sometimes they make their own salad and things like that. Very, very simple things. I'm sure many schools are doing that worldwide, but
Right.
we really give the focus on that, and we see children thriving on this philosophy.
I love that. And it reminds me so much of, I was Waldorf, Steiner trained, and that, at this, that stage, the children love to imitate what they see, reality doing, adults doing. And so when we facilitate that interest, it's magic. You're right. They will show you an attention span that is mind-boggling because they're so into it when it's their desire, not our desire. We just make it that, we facilitate. I love that. Yeah, I just thought that your statement of life-derived learning was so special, such a great way to say it. I want to jump into the next topic that, Greece has had some of the lowest COVID infection rates in Europe, right? I want to know how it's gone for you being in Greece in the early years sector, right? And how did you stay open? Did you stay open? And how did that look for you?
Yep. It's a very nice topic, and I believe I will tell you some interesting things. First of all, in Greece, Greece was one of the first countries that we went into a full lockdown. March 9, our government decided to shut down schools, to shut down practically the most of the economy, but schools were the first to shut down in March 10. And we reopened this Monday, June 1st. So we stayed closed for 80 days. I believe it was a very wise decision to lock down, to shut down country very quickly, because as the result proves, we kept the number of COVID incidents in a very low level. What happened, however, on the other hand, is that children stayed away from school from a long time, because almost 3 months is a very long time. We are preschool, and we're a play-based preschool, which makes it 2 and 3 times more difficult to work virtually, because where you're an elementary school or when you're an academic type of school, it's very easy to start giving kind of lessons. But we encourage children to play, so it was very difficult. It was a very difficult way to find out how we should move. And to be honest with you, for the first 2 or 3 weeks, we were doing many virtual things, many things through the internet, with the Zoom and with the GoToMeeting platform, and we're exchanging kind of PowerPoints and videos. And very quickly, we found out 2 things. First of all, that children had no interest to be behind a screen unless they were seeing their teachers or their friends. So very quickly, within 15 days, we understood that we should focus on this. We should focus on picture. We should focus on trying to keep the community together. Very quickly, ours was clear. We don't want to children anything, cannot teach children anything, but we have children kept inside the houses. They were not allowed to go out. Between March 10 and May 1st, officially no one was allowed to go out unless having a license. So children were for about 2 months locked up in their homes. So we had to give them many opportunities and many stimuli to interact with the school environment. So we tried investing a lot in producing videos with the teachers. The teachers were producing every day videos of 2 or 3 minutes, telling their own stories, telling what happened in their life, giving ideas to children, and then children and families were coming back with creating their own videos or sending us their own photos or sending us their own stories. And of course, very quickly, we started some kind of teleconference like the one we're doing right now for the whole school, in a different way, of course, in the kindergarten, different way in the babies. It was a very difficult equation. I can write a book about it, depending on the age, because we went through a lot. But we found out the result actually was that we managed to keep our community together. We were all very happy and proud that within 2 days of operation, the 80% of families returned back in school. which I consider a very big number. Everybody's
Huge.
everybody's afraid. Everybody is really scared about the COVID. But 80% of families came back in school within the first 2 days. So that means the community was kept together. And the great thing is that with the way we work, we managed to have full interaction with children and families. So teachers practically never lost touch with children, which was great. It was the most important thing.
I
Children came
agree.
back in school, and teachers, it was like having them the day before, because every day the teachers of each class were interacting with their children. They were sending videos, they were receiving videos, they were talking over the Zoom, either as a group meetings or as one-to-one meetings, talking with the parents, doing a lot of virtual conferencing. So it was a very hard thing. If you see, if I show you the spreadsheet I had produced to be able to follow what's going on in the school, it was mind-boggling. It was like a huge spreadsheet with many, many colors. Every day I was trying to figure out what we should do and if we did it and what we do tomorrow. But it worked fine. We kept, the community together. It would be very silly to say that this thing replaced the play in school. No way.
No
But
way.
no way. But we kept together. And let me tell you what's the fantastic thing we see right now in school. The school began, as I tell you, open again, as I told you, on Monday. And it opened with a bunch of new rules. For example, we were always have been an open school. Parents were able to get in our school and go around. Now they cannot do that. They have to stop at the gate. We have to take the temperature of the children. We have to, to have them very, very thoroughly wash their hands and then get in. And we have separated. We're lucky we have a very big space, either outdoor and indoor. So we have separated many spaces, and we have many outdoor and indoor classes, because practically we have split every class into two smaller parts. And the fantastic thing is that children within all this totally new thing, children are feeling great. Probably they miss their school very much, so they're very happy they're back. Second, the new deal is very clear to them. I mean, I know, and sometimes I tell to parents, I know that most of the frustration created in a school comes because of the parents. Because the parents get in the morning, they don't want to get out, the children, starts telling them one thing, they want to give a last kiss, and this creates a fuss. We like it because it's a way we gain the confidence of the parents. It's a way we communicate with them. But now that parents are out, the school is operating in a much more, clear way. But
so did you prepare the children? Did you do any prep work so that before they arrived that they had a complete preview of what was going to happen? And how did you do that?
Yeah, we
really
knew
important.
Practically we knew that we opened 1 week before. We had 1 week to prepare. Okay, maybe we knew. Okay, the atmosphere was that we opened, but in practice we knew it 1 week before. What we did many things. Teachers produced videos welcoming the children. The teleconference for the last week, all of them were a kind of preparing children that will come back in school and asking children what they want to do their first day and what they miss the most, and teachers trying to explain them that there are certain things you cannot get in school, that you cannot bring toys, but we can do this. And also we worked very, very closely with parents, with most of the families, because parents had also to prepare children. So it was about, let's say, 7 or 8 days of an effort to prepare children coming back. It worked perfectly. We all are very practically we're astonished, to be honest, about the readiness of children to come back. And once more, it's a discussion I had yesterday with Tom in another kind of meeting like that. We know, and once more, we made sure that children are very, very easy to adapt to a new environment, to a change, if adults are adapting. All the frustration for children comes because of us. If we adults, parents, and teachers are calm and stable, and we are able to make children feel safe and comfortable with the change, everything moves fine. If we are frustrated, children will be frustrated. So it was an effort. I believe it worked in the best possible way. It's very early. I mean, it's only the third day of operation today. We don't know what's going to happen the next weeks. Maybe in 1 or 2 weeks things will be very bad. I hope not, but nobody knows. But the first 3 days, the situation is fantastic.
Well, there's two things I see. First, I just want to acknowledge you for doing what I feel personally was the most important thing in this, is that to maintain the community. I think I was shocked at the number of academic things coming down the line when all that we really needed to be was present as an important, like as a teacher, you're significant to that child. You're with that child sometimes more than the parents are on a Monday through Friday basis. And to just flat out disappear is, with the COVID, is trauma. So to just stay in connection, I think was huge. So I think that provided the children a sense of safety before even coming back. You care about me, you see me, you hear me, you're with me in this pandemic. But then I think the second thing I'm very curious about is, how did you as a leader work with the teachers to keep them calm and not afraid? You know, because some teachers are afraid about going back into the classroom. How did you assure them?
Well, maybe because have spent many years in managing people, in managing situations. From the very first moment, it was clear to me that me and Daniela, as the leaders of the school, should be very positive, very optimistic. And from the day one, we made sure to teachers that no matter what, you will get your full salaries, you will have your job when you come back. We make sure for that, and you just have to keep doing your own work. I mean, we took out of their shoulders all of, let's say, of the noise and all of the fear that should come, because you know the first day the first day schools locked down in Greece, the government says, okay, you don't pay anybody, and we give them a subsidy every month. You understand that for a teacher, because you know better than me that teachers is not a very well paid job.
Right.
You can never pay teacher, no matter how much money a teacher gets, it's not enough. Never is enough. So the first thing we did is to make sure to assure them that don't worry, we are here to make sure that the school will keep going and your salary will be paid. And of course, this was communicated to parents, and I'm very, very proud for the parents of our school, because in more than 90% of them kept paying a small fee just to give teachers a salary. So, and this is also Sally, I have to be honest with you. This is we feel very proud of that, because that proves that we have built a community, and a very strong community. And it was, you know, this you can see it only in a difficult situation, not in the easy going situation. So this was a difficult situation. We were very steady from the first day. We tried to assure people that everything will go fine. We'll go. We are here to make sure that the community was besides the teachers and the children. And at the end of the day, it was a fantastic team, a fantastic teamwork result. So maybe I, as a leader, I gave, you know, the philosophy, I gave the idea, but then the community took over, and it was a very strong. The bonds. I have to tell you this. I keep saying that I'm very proud of it. The bonds between our teachers became stronger during this situation. I don't know what has happened in schools in other countries, but in my school, in our school, teachers became very close to one another. And you could see that the first time after the lockdown, they could be able to get together and see in face one another. It was an amazing moment, because they were colleagues, they worked together for so many years, and then they had to get separated for 2 months. And then when we get together, you see their happiness, you see their enthusiasm, because, you know, running a school is not like running any other kind of business. I mean, you have to, here we deal with the souls of the people. I have to keep my teachers happy, because if they're not happy, really happy, and they cannot get in class and produce a top class result, right? It's not,
Exactly.
They don't, let's say, they are not showing pants, or they don't creating, you know, books or something. They are shaping the souls of the children. So they have to be happy, they have to be secure, they have to feel praised. We try to do that. I'm not here to tell you that we do it every time we manage to do that. There are some failures, of course, but in the long run and in the big picture is that we do it, and teachers are very happy and proud to work for our school. This is really, you know, this is understood by parents, it is understood by the adults and by the children, of course, and this creates the bonds. And I believe we did it. I'm very happy we did it. I hope we don't have to do it again. I really hope we don't have to do it again.
Oh, I hope you do not either. And the other thing I'm hearing in this is that, we've been talking out in social media, and articles have been written about the pandemic as a collective stress. And what you did, I feel, what I'm hearing is provided the support needed when we're all in trauma, right? We need community when we're in this, something we've never been in before, to know that someone has our back, that my leadership is concerned about me, is concerned about the children, is concerned about the parents. And that's another thing I want to ask you is, what is it that you did to help parents understand their children would be safe coming back to school?
Yeah.
Because that's a big one. And
yeah.
Clearly 80%, that's huge. That's huge.
And that was the most difficult part, to be honest with you, because you understand that each different family has its own fears. There are families that have back home elder people with problems and they are much afraid. There are families that have gone through medical issues and they are afraid. So what we did, okay, the first thing I believe we have gained their trust years ago. I mean, it's not something we did like that, because they trust our school. Most of them are in our school for a number of years, so they know that when we say something, we do it. We don't joke around. But we made clear from the very first moment that we will do what is necessary to protect our collective health, and we're not starting doing favors or something, doing different things for different people for different moments. So we produced a very strict 14 pages book of new rules, new health rules, new safety rules. It was very clearly stated that all this period I was also trying to figure out what the FDA is announcing in the US, what the guys in the UK are announcing in various places in the world. So I knew that more or less I knew how this thing will be saved. Very, very quickly, I have to say also here that one of the important things we did with the parents was that we started communicating to them from the first day of the lockdown. We started communicating to them in full honesty the truth. I mean, I have found out as a leader and a manager all those years that the most important thing in difficult situations, especially, is to be honest. You have to give the clear picture. You don't have to leave shades. You have to give them as clear as possible. When you don't know something, you just tell them, I don't know that, but I'm here to find out. And the soonest I know, I will tell you. It's in Greece, and I'm sure in other countries, for maybe 1 month, most of the schools managements were very, in a very sad way of operating. I mean, no one was telling parents, you will pay fees or you won't pay fees. We will open or we will not open, because nobody knew. And okay, right. It's a very good, it's a very good argument to say, I don't know, so how can I tell you? But on the other hand, you have to tell them. So, for example, what I did, one of the things I did was very, very quickly, I tell them, look, I don't care what the government will say, you will not pay your full fees. You will pay just a portion of the fees to keep teachers receiving their salary. And I said that very, very quickly, and people, our parents at least, I believe, they appreciate it a lot, because I tell them, look, I don't know what the government will say, but I tell you this, take it for granted. Small things like that, I believe we built a trust over this year, but I believe the crucial thing for having all these kids back in school, I believe there are two crucial things. The one is, I said before, that we produced a very detailed and a very clear set of rules, what we do and what we will not do. And it's very strict. And although parents usually do not like this kind of strict rules, at this specific period of time, they love it because they feel safe. But I want to be honest with you. I believe that another very, very important factor is that children really miss their school, and that parents could not really get along more with children in home. I mean,
exactly.
Most families every week are telling me, I cannot cope with him anymore. We cannot cope with. I mean, they want to go out. They have. you have, okay, I know I'm afraid, but I have to send it back to you. So I believe it was a combination both of trust and need. And I believe this combination worked. As you, I'm sure many people have told you, and I have read in many places. I'm sure that parents really appreciated the job of the teachers during this COVID period. They really appreciated what we did in our school.
It was huge. Yeah. So can I ask you, are you social distancing in your classrooms?
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but you know, practically in preschools, with preschoolers, you cannot have social distancing. It would be a joke or a lie to tell students, tell parents that toddlers will stay away. What we do, actually, we follow the rules of our government, and our government made a very wise decision saying that in preschools we don't require social distancing. Okay, we strongly advise to try to keep children as far as away one another, but you cannot do it. So they focused on not having more than 15 children together, and they focused on not having, you know, a group of children going around in different classes and everything. So practically, what we do, and it works for those first 3 days, is that, as I said before, we created a number of outdoor classrooms and indoor classrooms. Practically, we doubled the classrooms of the school, and we split all classes. So practically now we have 22 different classes operating in small groups of 10, 12, 14 at the maximum, with a certain teacher that will not change for a week or 2 weeks. Maybe after 2 weeks, we change teachers. And this is the model we said the parents that we will work. This is the model we work, and I believe it's quite safe enough. Look, we don't let anyone come in school with temperature. We don't let anyone come in school before very thoroughly washing hands. We have, you know, we disinfect all the day, or anything that every school is doing all over the world. Parents are not getting in the school. So, I mean, we have done our best to keep outside from the school possible infection points of the COVID. I don't believe there are many more things we can do. Okay, we have withdrawn some toys, especially some things are, you know, some toys that are from material that you cannot really disinfect. We have closed the sand pits for a while, things like that. I also believe that some of the things we're doing are too much. But you know, we said, okay, we open in a full-blown model, and then as it goes, we change things, we let things go. The worst thing is that our government does not allow going out to school. I mean, we as a play-based school, and not only as a play-based, but as an urban school, we almost every day a class was going either to the forest or to a park, or anything. This is not allowed. And I believe, okay, this will be difficult to cope with the next week, with the weeks ahead. But if you come in our school today, and you can see some videos in our Facebook page and everything, everybody is happy, is feeling fantastic. In certain places in the yard, we have not, let's say, established barriers, but you know, there are some some red points. But children, you know that children are very easy to adapt. I mean, when they say, you tell them, you have to be you have to take care of yourself. Here you will be eight children with a teacher, and this is the space you have to move. They do it, and they feel fine.
Right. Yeah.
Because the space is big, they have many things to do. So they really cooperate on that.
And I think what I'm hearing from you too, from this whole conversation, is your respect for children as active ownership of their education. You've kept them fully informed, just like you would the parents or the teachers, right? Like they're a part of the informing cycle. And I think sometimes we don't address children in that same respect that we would their parent, and yet they deserve that. And they'll adapt much easier when we address them as full human beings.
Exactly, Sally.
Yeah.
And I believe this is the core part of the play-based learning, because if you want to give children a chance to discover their world, the first thing you have to give them is the information. what is the danger out of it? What are the things that he or she should take care before doing that? For example, when we do our DIY course before the first month or the first weeks before of the year, we don't do any kind of DIY. We teach them all the safety measures. And you know that when you teach a child in full respect and in full, like talking to an adult, like you said, if you teach him in this way something and you make it part of his life or her life, he or she will never try to skip that, or she will never try to go beyond that. They are very, very careful when you give them the responsibility. For me, maybe the most key word in our school is responsibility. When I tell them, I respect your need and I trust that you can do it, practically, it means that we give them the responsibility to do it. And believe me, never we have been laid out, never we have been disappointed by a child if the responsibility is given. Parents are the ones that are much hard to cope with the responsibility.
Exactly. Because they feel the weight of it. You know, it's like whenever I lean into parents when in my teaching practice, you know, as a mother, I know sometimes, you know, especially in a pandemic, it can feel very heavy. You know, I'm responsible. Am I making the right decision? And so I think, again, the community you developed, the directness of your communication, and I love that you address the economic aspect before being told how to do it, right? Because it says you're really thinking, you're really considering, you're looking at, okay, this is this is our best step forward to honor you and to honor our teachers.
Yeah, it's my management, let's say, career has taught me some things. One of the things that I know very well is that when there is a period of frustration, where there is a period of uncertainty, the most certainty you can provide to your clients or to your people or to the people that work for you, the best result will get. It's very easy to say, I don't know, but a leader has to know. A leader has to know more. A leader has to know more, unless he cannot be a leader. And sometimes when you are in a business, that means you have to take more risk. You have to take more responsibility, but that's why you're a leader. So this is expected by a leader. And this is appreciated by clients, this is appreciated by employees, this is appreciated by the whole community. I have seen that happening many, many times in my life. I saw that happening this time. I know this is the correct thing to do. I know it's not a very easy thing to do, but you have to do it.
Exactly. And I also love that I think it's really a powerful place in terms of the requirements of going back and all of these regulations and whatnot that are hitting us in every country's having it, right? No one's excluded about what's expected inside the classroom. But I love that you're looking at how can we navigate this and look what can fall away and what needs to stay in place and assuring parents, you know, do you have any recommendations on how to, like, if I have behind me a bunch of school directors or owners, what would you say to them about what would you suggest to them in re-entering the classroom and preparing their staff and the parents and the children?
The one and only thing that I'm more or less speaking all this time, give them the most possible information in the most clear way. For example, we do not allow them anymore to come in school because we're afraid of these things. But we have created groups in Facebook, we have created platforms in Edmodo, we have created a number of things. So every class is producing every day. We don't produce, actually, we give them a lot of raw information about what's happening in school, videos, photos, you know, raw photos, raw videos, not elaborated ones. I just get into the yard, take a 20 seconds video, I post it. The moment they see it, they know it's not fake. They know that when they see the child playing, it plays. He or she plays. So things like that. Make them feel like they have a real understanding of what's happening in school. Of course, the same information goes by the children. And the children, you know, they never lie. Okay, sometimes they say some stories, but they never lie. And they're very, very much eager to say the bad things more than the good things. So The second thing is, don't try to cheat on your job because now parents are not in the school. Because in the old way of operating, a parent could come in my office at any given moment. So I had to be perfect. Now they're not allowed to get in school. So it's very easy for someone to say, okay, so who cares? They are not able to come in. No, that's wrong. You have to be as perfect as you used to be, not because somebody will come here and come in school and inspect you, but because you owe it to your own values, you owe it to your own reputation, to your colleagues. So the second, let's say, thing I would tell them is, don't make any kind of discounts on what you are doing. On the contrary, give more. You have to, again, I will tell you something coming from my business career. You always have to invest first before get the reward.
Yes.
And
Yes, yes, yes.
and in our business, in our job, investing is giving children the best possible you can do. I
Yes.
believe this is the best advice somebody can give. Don't try to cheat on anyone, and especially on
Yes.
children. Children deserve the best. We give them the best, and then parents are very easy to understand and to appreciate that.
That is the truth. It's where the rubber hits the cement, as they say. When you are, I have been a play-based educator in an academic setting, giving my soul to being my best and had no pushback. And I think it's for that exact reason. And I do find that with so many passionate play-based educators, it's our life's work. It's a calling. It's more than just walking in and doing our job. It's like what we live for, it's humanity, it's creating a future. We are on the front line with humanity.
I know.
We have them when they're tiny.
The truth is, what you said is very true. I'll tell you this, last year, as I said, in 2019, we organized a big international conference in Athens, by far the biggest one that has ever happened in Athens in terms of play-based learning, play education, actually. 25 countries were represented with about 200 people. People came from China. People came from, I don't know, from any place in the world, from Scotland, from US, of course, from UK, from Bulgaria, from everywhere. You could not even see one of them being there because somebody told him to be there. All of them spent money and effort and time to be there, interact with one another. They were really excited. I could see people seeing Tom in front of them, said, oh my God, it's Teacher Tom. I mean, Peter Gray, whatever. It was like a big, as I say, it was like a big play gang getting together from all over the world and all sharing the same, exactly what you said. We're all sharing the same excitement. Okay, here we are all together to learn something more, so we can go back and give it to our children in the best possible way, to see them smiling, to see them flourishing, to see them developing with a new idea, a new concept that maybe we discuss here today. I find it one of the things I love in this kind of play world is that I've never seen somebody trying to work in a more, let's say, distance way. Okay, as you see, for example, in business. Okay, I'm here, I'm doing my job, but I don't really give you my soul. No, play-based educators really give their soul 24 hours per day.
They do.
This goes for our teachers. This goes for the people I meet in the conference. This goes for all my friends all over the world. They don't do this kind of educating because they have to. They do it. We all do it because we really believe it's the best thing we can do for children. And I believe this makes a big difference compared to the academic model, where you always have to meet some kind of standards, where you always have to be measured, where you are very much afraid about the result of this measurement. In a play-based school, nobody will come and measure, for example, with numbers. You don't see people, going around and noting everything. Of course, we measure some things, some numbers. Of course, we care about some numbers, but mostly what we care is about the happiness in children's faces and the good things, the nice words children, parents come back and teachers and telling them every day. And that the biggest reward for a teacher is the gratitude of a parent, not the money he will get or whatever else. When the parent at the end of the year comes crying and hugs him and tells him, I thank you for what you did for my child. This cannot be priced.
No, it is truly what, I mean, it's so fulfilling. There's no other word for it. A few questions before we wrap up. I'm just curious, as I sit here, how do you see the COVID outbreak impacting early childhood education in Greece? You know, we're seeing some centers, I see it almost daily, not sure they can reopen. You know, how has it been there? Has it had much of an impact?
I will tell you. Look, you know that every country is different in terms of education. In Greece, the preschool education, to be honest, is in a rather low level, but it's very highly needed because families don't have many other alternatives of keeping children occupied while they have to go to work. So many of the centers will not, I don't believe many centers will really close. Some of them, of course, will, but the government will subsidize as far as they can. What I really am afraid of is that because, as I told you, the level of preschool education in Greece is not high anyway. The COVID situation will maybe I don't know, maybe will make some of the educators working in the preschool education even lower the standards, even lower more the standards of education given. Because you know it's very easy when you focus on the process, when you focus on the safety. It's very easy to say, okay, but I don't care about education. So if let's say you come in Greece and you want to establish a preschool, you have to make sure that the building will be like that and like that. You have to make sure where the lines will be, where the hangers will be. Nobody will ever tell you what will happen in class. Nobody cares. They don't care about it. That's why in Greece we don't call them preschools. We call them with a very silly, very, very stupid word calling station for the children, which is very stupid. Wow. But this is the Greek expression, because nobody cares about education. They care about having a safe environment, keeping children safe in this environment. Now with the COVID, I'm afraid this will deteriorate even more, because now all those people will have the excuse of safety and fear.
Right. Exactly. I fear the same thing. In the US, it would be easier to set 4-year-olds up with worksheets than to give them play, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. It is very scary.
It's very scary. Look, Sally, we know, and me and Tom and other people were talking about it years ago. We know that the academic, the play-based education or those free type of education models like the Steiner, like Montessori, like Reggio, whatever, it's thriving in some places of the world. But we know that the academic education is gaining, and it's gaining because the big money is in academic education.
That's right.
Microsoft and Apple and Sony, I don't know who, they heavily finance academic education, which is normal. I can understand. It's a business. It's a business. It's an industry. But academic education is gaining, and now with more fear and with more with everybody being more afraid about the academic education, it's much easier to gain even more things, and to keep children in classes frustrated behind screens or behind spreadsheets because they are not allowed to go out because it's very hot or it's very wet or very rainy, or there's a COVID, or there is another COVID number 2 or whatever else. And I'm afraid this will be part of our future. On the other hand, I really believe that schools in general will start to change. Maybe not in 2 or 3 or 5 years, but I believe in a time period of 10 or 20 years, schools will change, because one thing we all learned about this COVID situation is that information is very easy to access. And if you think about it, most schools up to date, what they do, they just provide information. But now the whole world understood that the access information is very easy. So I believe that societies will start and schools will start changing and trying not to provide information, but starting more or less to train people, train children how to use information. I don't believe this will going to happen tomorrow, but I believe this this side effect of the COVID with the Zoom meetings and with all schools going virtual and all these things, I believe it accelerates our future and accelerates the transformation of the schools also. I want to believe that it will be a transformation for good and not for bad.
Yeah, and I think this is why it's important for us to rally together in the transformation of early childhood. I think that's my commitment, is to see the transformation, that people understand that really the most academic thing you can provide your child is a play-based education, because it's critical thinking, it's, you know, initiative, it's executive functioning. All of those skills come in play-based education. Exactly.
It's a very interesting process if you can see it from outside. I mean, I have examined maybe 15 different countries of their education models, and there are not even 2 countries in the world having the same education model or the same education need. So it's very exciting to see the changes, to see the differences. Very exciting to see things changing. I have to tell you that with exactly those days, during the COVID days in Greece, the Greek Ministry of Education, they voted for a new law that is more to the academic model than to the play-based model. That was normal to happen. That was normal to happen because it was a chance for the government to show that they really care about, you know, some numbers. Okay, I can understand that. I hope it will not be that much in the future, but I understand that. I feel like that this COVID situation will make things more strict, more you know, in boxes, more in frames, more safe, and this is not to the play-based model. This is more to the academic model in general. But as I tell you again, I believe in the long run, school has to change, and has to change in a more constructive model. We will live, hopefully we will live and we'll see that.
I hope so too. This has been a delight. Thank you so much for sharing really an inspiring story of what developing community, that human to human connection between teacher, you know, leadership, children, parents can provide. You know, it's the heart of it.
Yeah, it was a great discussion. Thank you so much. I loved it. I hope to be able to talk again soon.
Yes.
Great time.